how they can use this technology to transform their current operations so that they can serve their customers better and basically increase their revenue.
So within e-commerce, what I see is the fundamental thing which Pakistani organizations should basically focus on is automation. To start from the planning, strategy, execution, and scaling phase.
How would you advise the new startups, to step in this digital landscape? Welcome everyone. My name is Malik Waqas Saeed. As you know that I am Director of Digital Institute of Pakistan, and I have been working on and off with different organizations and corporations as well. So we have with us Mr. Omar Rana, who has contributed significantly to Pakistan's digital transformation journey, and he has been a technical advisor to a variety of different corporations and industries, from Skycom, Pakistan Fashion Design Council, to Telenor, and lots of different organizations. He has served in domains of different IT positions and advisory positions. So thank you so much, Mr. Omar Rana, for joining us with this podcast.
You're welcome. I'm honored.
Thank you so much. So, sir, you have contributed significantly to this Pakistan specifically digital transformation journey over a decade. So can you tell us that what are some of the ways that the businesses that are operating in Pakistan specifically, how they can use this technology to transform their current operations so that they can serve their customers better and basically increase their revenue and increase their role in the e-commerce industry, e-commerce transformation of our country?
Yeah. So with respect to when we talk about technology, obviously technology is a very vast domain now, and especially when we started working in technology 20 years back, it was very straightforward and simple, making software for business applications. Now we are going into too many areas. So Web3 is altogether a new area. We're talking about blockchain and AI and e-commerce and everything else. So within e-commerce, what I see is the fundamental thing which Pakistani organizations should basically focus on is automation of their processes and supply chain processes. And that is what we at Alchemative had been trying to do and work around with a lot of very large merchants in Pakistan for the last 7-8 years. The whole concept of Alchemative was always to bring and build automation applications. Because what we believe is that more automated the business is, the more the cost will go down. With automation, the cost will automatically go down. And the capacity of the business to serve more customers will increase automatically. And the quality of customer services can eventually increase as well, because the customers nowadays expect fast service, instant responses. All of this is basically possible with the use of technology. So other than supply chain, we believe that omni-channel communication is also very important, which merchants or e-commerce merchants in Pakistan should adopt as soon as possible. Because what is happening is customers are communicating on multiple channels. Same customer comes to you on WhatsApp, and then they go on Facebook page and also send you a Facebook Messenger request. And then they go to Instagram and also send you the same request or maybe a different request. And also you need to see the pattern of the customer, the behavior of the customer. So omni-channel communication is very important. The customer should have this feel that from whichever channel I communicate with this brand, I'm able to get my service. And the people who are dealing at the back end with me are aware what my communication was with this particular brand. So for example, a typical scenario is that customer communicates on Instagram or WhatsApp with the brand, and then they go to the shop. And on the shop, they want to reference the same communication, and they want to get a service. So maybe they want to return a product or buy a new product or whatever, but they want the reference of the same conversation they had with the brand. So this is very important to understand the omni-channel communication aspect of need. But this is not just for e-commerce brands. This is applicable across the board, because right now even institutions, education institutions, people now collect a lot of information regarding admissions and fees and everything online. And when they visit in person, there's a complete disconnect that is observed. That, okay, whatever the typical response of most of the brands in Pakistan, I'm talking about all sorts of brands, that online department is separate. We don't know what you talked with them. You have to tell us again what was your query. So I think this omni-channel communication is very important for brands and companies to actually adopt. Um, Supply chain, I've already talked about. We are already working in omni-channel supply chain. When we talk about omni-channel supply chain, the concept is that you should be able to order online and should be able to collect from the store. Or you should be in the store, maybe the product is not available there and then, but you should be able to place the order and it can be delivered to your home. Right now, this is not possible for most of the brand. That you, if you go to a store, you place an order of a product or you request a product and it is not available, and they cannot deliver you because they have no connection with their online presence, whereas online is totally disconnected from store. So this is omni-channel supply chain. So these kind of concepts businesses need to adhere to, connect with, because this is how they can increase their revenue. The moment you are able to serve your customers across different channels, you are able to sell more. Because in the end, what we need to understand is customer is happy with a brand which is responsive to its needs and which can fulfill its needs as soon as possible. Customer would like to continue doing business with those brands. So yeah, this is one area we can talk about.
Yeah, so you have highlighted some of the very important key points that we need to understand our customers better, basically identify their patterns, behaviors, and serve them on different channels like an omni-channel approach, and also incorporate the automations into our business processes so that we can serve the customers efficiently and promptly. That is a very good approach, and that is the kind of an approach that every business in Pakistan should employ in all of their processes. So can you share some of the examples of the businesses that have successfully leveraged this technology and AI and automation, and basically understanding the patterns of the customers and employing the omni-channel approach to create innovative new products and services in Pakistan? Do we have some examples that we can follow in Pakistan?
Yeah, basically, there are a lot of examples recently, because as I said, we're working with a lot of brands and we have enabled this part of what you can say automation with for a lot of brands. It would sound slightly unjust to basically name or one or two, so I would actually name a lot of the brands which are actually leveraging this omni-channel technology and delivering their customers the value they actually expect. So starting from popular names like Limelight, Orient, yeah, Khadi, Sapphire. So a lot of these, Baroque, a lot of these brands have implemented omni-channel technology within their supply chain processes, and because of that, they're able to deliver more and faster. And on an average, what we have seen is easily 1 to 2 times of growth in their overall sales revenue. Not just because the communication and the relationship with the customer is better, just because when you implement omni-channel supply chain, your inventory availability changes altogether. Because now what is happening is you are exposing your whole network's inventory, so your shops and warehouses and everything on the internet, which was never possible before this omni-channel technology. So these brands are actually leveraging it. And then recently, a couple of brands jumped onto WhatsApp automation with us, which mean because what we believe is industry is very fast moving towards, especially when it comes to women, they want the solution on chat. So they want the conversation to convert into a successful transaction. This is a new expectation globally, obviously, and this is mainly prevalent in women. And women primarily drives the e-commerce growth in Pakistan or globally anywhere, because they are the main buyers. So for them, it's very convenient to have a conversation on WhatsApp, and during that conversation, they should be able to identify or select their products and then place the order there and then. This is something we had recently delivered to a lot of customers in Pakistan through a partnership with MyAlice, which is omni-channel communication solution. So yes, there are a lot of brands, and we can name, we can actually share a long list. It can be seen on our websites as well. But yeah, a couple of brands I've already named.
So that is a very good approach, and I believe that some of the names that you have just mentioned, they can be some of the ideals to follow for those brands that are just going into this industry. So what do you think are the challenges basically for the businesses that want to incorporate these technology into their processes, and what are those challenges, and how can those businesses overcome those challenges while employing this omni-channel and automation and AI approach?
So the most fundamental challenge I see with a lot of brands and companies, that somehow right now everybody wants to be on this digital transformation bandwagon. So every other company is claiming to be digital transformation expert, and every other company had this put this digital transformation as their vision or mission, part of the initiative within this year or next year. But most of them, if you start discussing what is digital transformation for them, they would not have a clear answer. So what I believe is, what businesses should do, first of all, they need to work on their business performance strategy. They need to understand their processes, because unless they cannot put their processes on paper, they cannot have a successful business transformation journey. Because in order for a digital transformation can only happen if you already have some processes established and working in the organization. If you already have established your KPIs, what are the expected outcomes of digital transformation? If the whole objective is to just bring in new technology, that will never work. So you need to be very clear. Okay, right now my processing time for a particular process is 4 hours. If I implement technology, can I reduce it to 3 hours or 2 hours or 1 hour? If that approach is not followed, then I don't believe digital transformation would benefit anybody. Rather, it would just be a cost. And this is a prevalent problem in Pakistan's industrial sector, mainly, if you see, and mainly SME industrial sector. What you see is they want to digitally transform themselves, but because they do not have any idea about how this technology will generally work, so they see it as a cost element. So implementing any technology, they always see it as a cost center. Whereas I always advocate to my customer, and wherever I talk, that technology is not the cost center. Because if you implement a technology and it does not reduce your cost, overall cost of the business, cost of doing business, then that technology is a failed technology from day one. Or the technology was not right, or the people who implemented were not right. They did not understood it. So this is a very common phenomena. And this is something whenever during my consulting engagements, with the internal IT teams of the department of the company, I always advocated them that you need to start thinking from the cost saving perspective. You need to start building your proposals towards your management from a cost saving perspective. For example, if I buy this server and I install this application, I will reduce this amount of man hours of your information workers, which will result in this amount of saving. This will automatically pay for the server. But most of the IT heads or IT teams in most of the companies, they still do not understand this concept. And they simply go for, okay, digital transformation, we buy some new technology, we buy some new applications and servers and implement. And the organization always sees it as a cost center, because they do not link this implementation with the savings they are going to get out of this. So this is the most fundamental thing I believe businesses focus. They should work on their process first, their KPIs first, and before initiating a digital transformation project, talk about what are the savings in terms of efficiency and time they are going to get afterwards.
That is a very great approach. And as someone who has worked with already established industries, I think it is much harder to work to convince those industries who are already established to adopt this digital transformation. And I think it is much easier to convince the new startups to employ this digital transformation. So you have worked with many organizations, you have through different advisory positions to convince them, digitally transform them. So as someone who has been involved in the policy making decisions and the policy making initiatives with these variety of different organizations, what do you think needs to be done on a government level and on the industrial level to ensure that when we come up with the new startups, or even if the businesses that are currently operating in the country, how should they adopt this technological revolution, digital transformation, omni-channel approach? How should they approach this initiative?
So I'll touch both of these separately, because industry have different things to do and government have different ways to actually go. So when we talk about industry, there is also something which we need to talk about, which is the output of universities. The universities right now producing the graduates are not up to the mark, or they are not employable by the industry, because most of them do have degrees, but they do not have skills or capabilities to actually go and start working in the institutions,
Exactly.
in the organizations. So I believe industry can play a very important role here. They can connect with education institutions and give their requirements, the skill set requirements, and the expectations they have from graduates. For example, a textile industry, if looking for textile engineers and process engineers and marketing and merchandising managers and quality control procedures, they should give these requirements. Okay, these kind of skill sets we require when a textile engineer is coming out of university. These kind of skill set we require when a business graduate, BBA graduate is basically coming out of university, so that they are immediately employable. This is one thing they can do to help the overall economy and the condition of Pakistan. Secondly, I believe they can also heavily invest on internship programs, because in Alchemative we have run a lot of internship programs, and we had been very successful in that, in basically converting that raw talent into a usable talent. Because obviously once they come out of university, they have all these functional foundational knowledge with them, not the application applied knowledge. But once they go through a 2-3 months or 4 months 6 months of internship program with an organization, they actually learn the application of all that knowledge which they have. So that is where organization needs to come, and they need to invest on. And I believe that's the best investment they can do, because you get people who are then going to be committed to the organization, because they've started their journey with that organization. That organization have trained them, groomed them, and predominantly most of them would like to continue their journey with the same organization for a period of time. And this is how the organizations and the companies industry can actually bring in new talent, fresh blood, new ideas, and keep on improving the organization. This is one important thing. Now, obviously, the other thing we already talked about, that they need to evaluate the technology landscape and they need to implement the automations as soon as possible, as much as possible. When it comes to governments in any country, any developed country or fast developing countries, if we see, the government's focus should always be to build or have enabling policies, the right tax infrastructure to enable and to promote growth in the organization, in the economy and in the country. Right now, I'm not in basically right now in the right what you can say situation, or the current government is not the right government to give any suggestions to. We all understand the present government does not have any insights how to run this whole country. But in general, what we need from government is the right policy making, the right taxation structure, understanding of the needs of different sectors. So for example, for the last 3-4 years, freelancing was growing in Pakistan, and freelancing was growing in Pakistan like it was almost at the first or second position in the world in terms of freelancing income. But now that is coming down drastically, just because the government have disabled dollar spending, just because government have disabled a lot of payment taking options, just because government is questioning every organization that is bringing in dollars, where are these dollars coming from? There is a clear-cut business documentation that exists. If that business documentation exists, why you have to stop those transactions? So this kind of situation, when a government creates, this is a discouraging situation. I was going through stats. Just in the last 2 months, 127,000 engineers left Pakistan to Dubai. Just in last 2 months. That's a huge number. And we're talking about 127,000 in 2 months. Engineers, this is a brain drain at a level which I think no country have ever seen in the past. And this is just because the way right now. So government have to do a lot of things. But first and foremost, they have to set the policies right. Because without the right policies, the environment can never be positive for the people to actually grow, the businesses to grow.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of the organizations should follow the example of the Ecommerce. Like for example, like our educational institutions on one side are unable to prepare our new youth to learn and the dynamics of the industries. So like your organization is providing them internships to basically guiding them through the dynamics of the corporations, and then basically teaching them, employing them. And so this is what the most of the organizations should follow to fill this gap. And on the government level, since you also have been through different advisory positions, and there are a lot of the competent people in Pakistan who have diverse experience like yourself. So I believe that government should make an IT advisory board for this technological landscape, so that we can digitally transform not only the businesses that we currently have, but the new startups that are coming up, and supporting them throughout this process and digital transformation. So your organization has been playing a crucial role in the digital transformation for a lot of different companies. So at the end, what solutions your organization can provide to the existing the businesses, and how would you advise the new startups to step in this digital landscape?
So as of now, Alchemative can help any existing e-commerce or new e-commerce business to start from the planning, strategy, execution, and scaling phase. Which means if there is already an e-commerce business and they want to scale, they want to grow big, and they want to go multi-channel, omni-channel, digital retail, all of these concepts, Alchemative is fully capable of enabling that. Alchemative have products in the area of from website development and web storefront automation to logistic automation to supply chain automation, payments automation. We have a dedicated payments platform. And I think that was one of the first of its kind in Pakistan as well, because in Pakistan, most of the payment providers were having their own plugins and on different platforms, but all of them were not available. So what happens is when you go to a bank and you ask for a merchant account for e-commerce, the bank gives you an API document to develop that application for your own store. Not all merchants can actually do that. We saw that gap in the market and we developed a mediation platform, which means now if you are a Shopify or WooCommerce or Magento customer and your merchant account from any of the banks in Pakistan, you are instantly enabled to take those payments because we have developed that mediation platform, which is just click and plug and play, and that's it. It starts running on a very economical price. So this is the kind of automation we talk about. Same goes for one of the products, as I said, Jinko, which is an omni-channel retail product. Now coming to startups. So what I see startups can actually focus on, because this is something I've also talked about with another forum as well, that there is an increased trend of students or graduates straight away coming into business, which is a very good trend in one side, that everybody wants to be an entrepreneur because entrepreneur is important. Entrepreneur creates opportunities for everybody. But what is important to understand here is you cannot copy and you cannot create impact if you keep on copying ideas and making minor improvements in those ideas. Or if you just become another freelancer and then engage 5 more people with you to do that freelancing on Amazon. So what you need to do is you need to actually join an organization. You need to work in the industry for a couple of years, maybe 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Gain the relevant experience, understand the relevant industry to a depth. Once you have that solid understanding, you will really understand the problems of that industry. Then you will be able to come up with a product which can actually change the market. Right now, what is happening is you are good at marketing, you're good at selling, you develop very good pitch, go to investors, get some funding, try to start a startup and eventually fail. What it creates? It creates a distrust in the investor community. It creates a distrust in the global community that, okay, people are very good at selling ideas, making presentations, but on ground, there's no actual idea that is going to make money. So why is that not happening? Because you do not understand the industry to that depth. So you have to spend time in the industry to do. So when Alchemative started creating its product, we were already working in the e-commerce industry for last 3 to 4 years. Then we started creating products based on the ideas, based on the gaps we understood in the market. So I think this is a very important lesson for startups, that they should first have some deeper understanding of the industry and then go into the creation process or problem solving process.
I have been, a regional. There have been different startup initiatives by different universities, like Superior University being one of them. So I have been their regional head for some time, and last year I have had to approve and review many startup ideas by the students of different Punjab universities. So I can definitely agree with the things that you are talking about, that our new startups don't have any a convincing product, a convincing idea that can pitch the investors in. So building a digital ecosystem at the end is an essential for the country's economic growth and development. So to achieve this, I think that we need, as Mr. Omar has been talking about through all of our discussion, that we need to improve our digital literacy. We need to improve digital infrastructure to basically digitally transform our business processes, so that we can understand our customers better, we can serve our customers better, to streamline, we can basically streamline our business processes, and basically encourage the collaboration with all the stakeholders as well. So Alchemative has certainly helped these businesses with their products in the past, and it is right now doing as well with the different organizations as well. So thank you so much, Mr. Omar Rana. That this was a very fruitful discussion, and we have had to discuss a lot of amazing points here that can digitally, that can help us help benefit the digital ecosystem that is suffering from a lot of support and a lot of advisory. So thank you so much for taking time.
Thank you for inviting me on this forum and giving me the opportunity to talk about it.
Sure, thank you so much.